Hey guys, I wanted to share with you a method of color changing that I learned for crochet the past couple of weeks. I've been working on this ripple blanket right here, and while I started it, I kind of realized that I didn't like the classic method of color changing. You know, the colors really blend, there's no neat straight edge to it, and I really wanted this blanket to be really nice. So I'm going to share with you the way that I learned to do it, that I kind of taught myself. It might already exist, it might not, but I haven't been able to find it anywhere on the internet, so I figured I would post this and share it with you. Now, before we get started on actually how to do it, I'm just going to show you the difference between the classic method of color changing and my method that I kind of made up, and then you can see the difference and decide whether or not you might want to use it. Okay, so here we are with the blanket. Excuse the loose ends for a minute. And we're going to start out by looking at this right here. This is the classic method that you would normally use. And you know, it looks pretty nice. It still works. But this is the new version that I use. You can see how there's a really crisp line right here. You can tell, you know, exactly where the border is, and it's just really sleek looking. And you're probably thinking, you know, it's just crocheting in the front or the back loops. And that's actually not what I did, and here's why. When you crochet in the front or the back loops to create this really nice edge, you're kind of compromising. The one side is really, really nice, and the other side is just normal. This is different, so let's take a look at the back side. The back side, if you can tell right here, it has the same really nice, even sort of look as the front side does, and it's almost identical on both sides. So over here you can see the back side of the classic, and here is the back side of my version. It's just a really nice, really even line. So if you look right there, in between where I switched doing the two, you can really tell the difference. Okay, so now I'm going to teach you guys how to actually do the stitch that I used. The pattern I'm using for this blanket is 9 rows of gray, 3 white, 9 blue, and 3 more white. Now I just finished my 9th row of blue, so now I'm going to be switching to a white row, and that's how I'm going to show you guys how to do this. So right now I just have to do one last stitch and one last double crochet of this row, and I get to this point and I want to stop before I do the very last pull through. And that's when I'm going to switch over my colors, because that's just easier to conceal the colors, basically. So I'll tie that off later. For now, I'm just going to show you guys. This pattern calls for 3 chains when you begin the new row. So I'm chaining 3 with the new color. And now I'm going to flip it over and show you guys how to do it. Okay, so here we are. I'm ready to start my white row. I've got my 3 chains, and now it's just about finding the right loop to crochet in. I probably should have mentioned this a little bit earlier, but when you're doing this, this method of color change, you really want your very last row, so this last blue row that I did before the change, you want that to be pretty tight, not really loose stitches, because if they're too loose, then the next color, in this case the white, will kind of pull through and show in between, and that's not really a nice look. So make sure that they're, you know, loose enough that you can get your hook in there, but for the rest of the, you know, for the most part, fairly tight. So here's what I'm going to do. It's a double crochet, so I'm going to yarn over, and then I'm going to find the loop. So we're going to work with one that's a little bit easier to see. If you look from here, this is a loop right here, the one that you would normally work in. Normally you would insert your hook straight through and just work it like that. We're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to insert our hook straight through the middle of that stitch and down. When you do that, you can kind of see the little loop right below it. So that's this loop right here. This is what we're going to want to be working in. So insert your hook through from the top, pick up that loop there, the little underneath one, and pull it through, right through the middle of the stitch that you would usually be working in. And that's how you find your stitches. Okay, so now working in the one that I'm actually supposed to be working in now. This is the loop right here. I insert my hook through the middle of it, pull up the little loop that's right below, and pull it through. This is a little more time consuming than the classic, but I really like the look of it, so I don't really mind taking the extra time. So I'm just going to work my usual double crochet. Same thing, yarn over, find the next loop that you ordinarily would be working in, insert your hook straight through the middle, pull up the one just below it, this one here, and then pull it through the center. and continue as you normally would. So now I'm just going to do a few stitches to show you in case, you know, you couldn't really see well the last couple of times. So yarn over, through the top, pick up the little stitch below, pull through the center, and then this is the stitch you're working in. I apologize if you can't really see my hands that well. This is my first time actually doing a tutorial on anything crafty, so hopefully this makes sense. And I'm planning on posting a sort of picture tutorial as well, so you might want to look at that and it can kind of help you see where I'm going. Now for this pattern I'm supposed to be doing 5 double crochet and then double crochet 2 together. That's how I get those ripples. So I'm gonna do that just like this, and I'm going to continue on my pattern in the same way. Now obviously you guys probably don't want to watch me do an entire row like this, so I'm just going to go all the way to the end now. I'm going to finish this row and then I'm going to show you how to finish off the row, because that's really kind of a tricky part. It's not quite what you would expect and it took me a while to figure out. So I'm going to finish this row and then we'll be back. Okay, so here we are with an entire row of color change. I've done my entire first row of white and I'm just down to the end. Now you might notice that the border there where the color switches, the stitches seem a little bit rougher, maybe more stiff. Don't worry about that at all. It'll completely loosen up and it'll be a lot softer the more you work with it and the more that you use it, and probably even if you wash it, which I haven't done yet, but you can give that a shot. So this pattern that I'm working on, the end calls for 4 single crochet and then, or sorry, 4 double crochet and then 2 double crochet in the top chain. So that I found to be a little bit odd and I had to use a little bit of a different method than that with that. So if we're looking at it, this here, I'm going to insert my hook so I can just show you which one it is. This here is the top chain that I'm supposed to be working in. And so logically, this loop underneath, this one right here, is the one that I should be using to stitch in. But I'm actually not going to do that because I found it ended up looking a little bit weird with the chains and all. So here's the top right here of the loop that I should be working in. And I'm just going to open that up a little bit so you can see the inside. And there's a loop right here that goes across. That's actually the top of the next chain, if you can see here. This little bit right there, that's actually the top of the next chain. So I'm going to insert my hook right through the top of the next chain, and that's going to be the one that I work in. So again, I'm double crocheting. So here's the very top chain, and I'm going to look at it from the top and like separate it a little bit so you can see the middle of it, and then just stick my hook right through the top of the next chain. And I'm supposed to be doing 2 double crochet in there. 3 more chains so I can begin my next row. And there you have it. That's the end. Thanks for watching.